Okay, Tim, right before the break, you made an important point. You noted that in those areas where the Democrats and really atheism, anti-Christ attitudes take control, those cities, those tend out to be the most racist.
It's very interesting. So there's several points I think are probably worth unfolding. As someone who grew up in the country, I grew up on a farm. Relatively speaking, we traveled a lot with my dad going and speaking, but we always had horses and our grandparents had cows and we had sheep and there was dogs and cats. So we grew up in the country. You will never find an atheist who grew up and lives in the country. It just doesn't happen, right? Because one of the things the Apostle Paul wrote in Romans is that creation itself testifies to the fact there's a God. If you live in the country, you know there's a God. Now, you might not like him, you might not serve him, but you know there is one. In the city, if all you've ever seen are man-made things, if you've never seen the night sky and you haven't heard the night sky giving testimony to the fact there is a God, it's only in cities you can be an atheist. Well, in the midst of that, we know there's only a couple options for a nation. And as a nation, you either have a big God or you have a big government.
Oh, true.
So if there is no God, you have to, by default, have a big government. And so if there is no God, your value system also changes. And this is what you see in the cities where the largest cities that are Democrat controlled and Democrat run, it's not for the good of the people. It doesn't benefit the individual and it doesn't help those in need. Instead, the Democrats, they use slavery to oppress people and to build their own power structure. Well, now Democrats are using things like welfare and government incentive programs to oppress people and use it to build their own power structure. But genuinely speaking, you don't find those same mentalities where you find more rural, more conservative, more Christian, more Republican areas. You don't find the same secular, godless, or racist things that you do in these Democrat-controlled cities.
All right, I'm going to pull together two things that you talk about. One is being on the farm, and the other is how you sell people into slavery on the notion of, we'll give you this benefit or whatever. And those come together in George Orwell's book, Animal Farm.
Yes.
Where you sell, oh, Farmer Brown is evil, we've got to, was it Jones? I think Farmer Jones is evil, we got to remove him. And the pigs take over.
Right.
Because all animals are equal.
All are equal, but some are more equal than others.
Which means we're in charge
Right.
and you're inferior.
Right.
And that's, I mean, the whole history, the eugenics movement, the whole Darwin idea has led to things like Planned Parenthood
Yes.
and eliminating the inferior races. Even though we're telling them we're supporting you and helping you, they're really viewing human beings as some more superior and some more inferior based solely on skin color.
You're right. And one of the also shocking things along, you mentioned Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger, so let me go there for a second. What is shocking about that too is there is a letter from a German official who worked for Hitler who wrote to thank Margaret Sanger for her work in eugenics because it gave them the foundation for what they were hoping to accomplish in their German eugenics program. Literally, Hitler took Margaret Sanger's ideas and expanded and really institutionalized those. Margaret Sanger, incredibly racist, and even the idea that that Americans could be partially guilty for some of the evil that happened there, that's actually true. Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger, far more evil than most people realize and what they were trying to accomplish.
You know, I had an interview with Dr. Carson recently, and Dr. Carson said animals have different brain structures, and so they just have to react to the very superficial characteristics. Human beings have very sophisticated brains, and we can actually study the content of one's character rather than the color of one's skin. And so why are we asking people in critical race theory to judge everyone solely based on the color of their skin and not the content of their character?
It's a profound thought and question, which he's such a good thinker.